Hey guys, Toolbox here. This is gonna be a tutorial video for how to use a tool. I made a video before, but it was pretty lengthy and a lot of things changed. It can look very intimidating at first. After this video, you should have a good idea how to use it. That's my goal. So on the canvas there are objects, everything you can hover, and there's a drop shadow. I call them an object. There's some objects you cannot add, it's just there and you cannot really remove them. You can hide them in the layers. For example, I use waymark B and 2, but I don't need the rest. I can just go to the layers on the right side and I can just uncheck the rest and they'll be gone. So these are objects, and on the left side you see all objects have properties. I'm not gonna go to details of what every single properties are. Some of them are pretty self-explained, but I will go over some of the hidden ones that you cannot really figure out at the very beginning. Animation, there's some basic animation in the styles section. It's very basic for now. There's a checkbox here called is contained within arena. Let's see if we can zoom out. Here we go. It's called is contained within arena. That means that decide whether the object go out of the arena or not. Layer index. Layer index is how you layer things on top of each other. Let's say you have these two objects on top of each other, but you want the astral to be on top of the dancer instead. So what you do is that they both have the layer index of 30. You make the astral layer index of 31 or 40. That will go on top. For the boss, so you have the aggro. You can only choose 2 of the tanks, and it doesn't follow the tank until you check the checkbox of is following tank, and once you check that, it actually follows the tanks around. Sorry, one thing to mention, this is kind of hidden. Every single object have a AoE object inside it. So to access it, it has a button here called modify AoE, and click that and you can have access to the actual AoE inside the object. And this is mostly used for the AoEs that relative to the parent object, if that makes any sense. Let's say the boss have a square AoE of that AoE, for example. Then when I rotate the boss, the AoE rotate with it. The boss and the players have buff icons. For the icons of the debuff itself, you can usually find them on my channel, on my Discord channel, or you can just ask for them. Another really good source for the debuffs at Galantor for the Final Fantasy 14. They have all the icons in here. Let's say rod. The rod, you can press right click, inspect element. There it is. So if you steal this icon, paste it in here, then you can see the icon appears here. A player can have a maximum amount of 4 icons. One thing I want to note is that I grab this icon, but I don't want to give an impression that you can just take whatever icon you can get online. If you use an image or whatever image you find online, you need to make sure that you have proper license to use it. It's very important. What you do is considered non-commercial work. So most of the art online allow for non-commercial uses, but some of them will require you to credit the artist. You can do it in the note in the Strat, and make sure you do that. So I want to talk a little bit more about the layers. So you see every object has a group. This group attribute will define what group it belongs to in the layer. So you see the Eden Prime in the group enemy. So in the layers, you can see it's categorized by enemy section. Basically, it's almost like Photoshop. You can click on the layer and you can choose the object itself. You can lock the layer so you cannot interact with it. And when you hide a layer, it's actually also hide it in the preview. This is important because usually when let's say you have step 1 and step 2, and let's say on step 2 the boss disappears, it just hides the layer, and in the preview the object will just disappear. So let's move on to addable objects. These are the objects that you can add on the screen. Add is like a boss, a mini boss, I guess. You can have a tether. Now this is gonna be reworked soon, but for now you cannot really actually move the tether. You have to assign 2 targets to the tether. Let's say the tether is from the boss to the Dark Knight, and see the tether is there. Sometimes it's kind of finicky, and if it's like in a straight line, you cannot really see it. That's why I'm working on to actually rework this, but for now that's how it works. You have a video player. For now this only work with YouTube videos. So YouTube player, you have to put the ID. The ID is this chunk here. That's the ID of the video. So if you copy that into this field and you say it start from 0 from the beginning and end at 5 seconds, it's gonna loop through the first 5 seconds of the video. So let's say this a step covering a specific mechanic of the Strat. Then you just want this clip to rotate through that specific part of the video where it shows a mechanic, like a POV kind of. And I think that's gonna help the players to understand the mechanic better when they see the mechanic, and then they actually see the POV of the mechanic happening. And for the text object, you know sometimes you want to add some description or instruction on the screen. Just say run for your life, and you just kind of put it there, I guess. On the right panel, there's a section called presets. There's the layers, and the bottom one is presets. This is where these are the presets of the objects I made ready to use, I guess. Sometimes people say, well, this is not exactly what I want. Then you can use this as a base and modify it further. And let's say you have an image for it, so you don't know how to upload it. There are different CDNs you can use, and obviously Discord is one of them. You can go to your own channel, you upload the image up, and it says you right click, copy link, and then you can use the link in here. Bosses can have animation on them. So let's say E2S, if you add the float animation, you can see that he's kind of floating in the air there. It looks kind of cool. This is another work in progress. I just gotta leave it there. It does follow players, but it requires a lot of customization still. A lot of the struggles I have is not just implementing the feature, but implement the interface which allow you guys to customize the feature. That's the challenge. The challenge is not making the feature. The challenge is making the feature accessible for you guys. I recently added the arrows. They can be quite useful. It's black, so I do have like you can see like a white drop shadow. So in case you have black on black, like exactly like this, you can still see the arrow. And the arrow, you can have animation on them like blinking. Let's say the next step, you have to move this way, this direction. Then you can make it blink to make it obvious that you're moving that way. Add it. And if you see any more preset you wanted me to add, just go to my Discord. I will include the link in the description, and just let me know in there. Oh god, this is a big mess. Refresh. Ta-da. Steps and Strat are another big topic. I will leave it to in the next video. I figure I would divide into 2 videos, so that I think that makes more sense.